Hey folks, Russ Bailey here. Welcome to another edition of BrushPile Fishing. It is the end of August. We're in my home state of Ohio. We're on Hoover Reservoir just outside of Columbus. It's a small reservoir. It's hotter than snot out today with Mike Six. Mike, how we doing?
Doing great, Russ. How are you today?
Good. Hey,
Good.
You are the man when it comes to offshore planer board fishing. Well, you ready to get started?
Let's get started.
Hoover Reservoir right here in Ohio. Here we go, folks.
Many people look at a lake and feel a sense of calm serenity. Crappie fishermen feel the heart-pounding anticipation of the thump. That's why host Russ Bailey is addicted to crappie fishing. It's this addiction that takes Russ from the Midwest to the Deep South in search of the best lakes, techniques, and patterns from some of the best crappie anglers in the country. Right here on BrushPile Fishing.
We did a great show last year in Deer Creek.
Yep.
Today we're going to even, I think, a little bit smaller reservoir with a 9.9 horsepower limit, so we're not going to have to deal with any pleasure boaters.
No pleasure boaters today, which really makes it nice. This is one of those little hidden secrets that we have in Ohio. We have a lot of 9.9 lakes, especially over on the west or eastern side of the state. But you know, these 9.9 lakes are, you can come in here and there's not a lot of pressure. And you can see where we've been fishing, you know, out in the middle of the lake.
Yep.
And you get out there and you can get to these fish. I mean, they're fantastic. It's, you know, a great little lake to go out and, you know, and it's got all the varieties.
Well,
you know, saugeye, you know, it's got the crappie, it's got bass, you name it, it has it.
We'll show the actual setup that we're using later, but we're going to be giving the fish a little different presentation, a crankbait and a fin spin on each line that we have out, right?
Yep, I run a crankbait strictly to get my fin spin down to the depth that I want to run. So I'm fishing two lures, different styles. I've got a bigger crankbait and, you know, then of course the smaller fin spin, but I run it off a three-way swivel. And that crankbait, you know, does its job, you know, it catches fish and it allows the fin spin to fish in the depth that I want to fish in. That's one thing that I really like about these offshore boards. You know, be it you know the larger boards or you know these mini boards, they just run so well. You know, right out of the package. You know, they sit upright. They just run so true, and I can get them. They keep sliding away from the boat. You know, the more line you put out, the more they'll slide out, and you know they just run so good. I mean, it's.
Well, I remember them from the walleye days, a little bit bigger
yes.
boards.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. They little interesting story about those walleye, you know, those offshore boards. That wasn't just a, you know, hey, I'm going to come up with got one right here. Here we go. It's the first one of the day. Let's see what we got.
Let me know if you need the net.
Well, we always need the net, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's my story, then I'm going to lie or anything like that. Well, I think we're going to need the net, Russ.
That's a nice crappie right off the bat. There we go. On the, oh yeah, it is.
That's one to start
Summertime
with.
fishing here at Hoover. That is a nice fish to get us going.
There we go. And
Black crappie.
got him on the Bandit 300. Now the trick's to get these treble hooks out of the net.
Well, and that's one good thing about this Ego net. You got the rubber netting. Custom made for crankbaiting.
First fish of the day, Russ. What do you think?
Nice.
Yeah, that Bandit. And the thing is, we got these adjusted. I'm running really shallow and really deep on my side.
Okay.
6 foot back. I'll have to show you on my precision trolling app.
Okay.
What that's doing, but that's probably only putting that bait down about 3 feet.
Nice.
So imagine that we're in August
Yeah.
and I'm fishing 3 foot down in a big lake like this.
Well, water temperature wise, right now we're about 77 degrees. Nice fish to get us going.
Here's the lake information, sponsored by Mossback Fish Habitat.
Mike, before you were interrupted, you were telling a little story there.
Oh yes, on these planer boards, you know, the planer boards themselves, it's not a, you know, you just go and I'm going to decide to make them today and throw them out there on the market. You know, the Deshanos, when they put this whole thing together, it took 5 years to find the right pinch point, you know, for where the line, you know, is to tie in and everything, for them to develop this. You know, so they put a lot of time and a lot of effort out there. So of course, you know, guys like me, I'm reaping the benefits.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you know, they put this product together, and it, like I say, right out of the package, this thing's ready to go. It does a great job. It's fantastic. But all the years and time and effort it took into the research and development to put it together, you know, it's well worth it. And you can see in the end product with what you've got. You
Well,
know?
we did the show last summer on Deer Creek, and man, it was like bam, bam, bam. And I think the key, because that was really clear water.
Yes.
It just got those baits out away
Yep.
from the boat.
Got them away from the boat, and you know, and as much line as you've got on your rod, on your reel, you could run these things out. And that's, you know, and the thing that's really nice is the way they'll stack. You know, if we were running 4 boards off one side, it'd be no problem. They would just, you know, I could just stack them right up and it'd be a perfect line right out one side. You know, so you go to some of the southern states where you can run 8 rods,
Right.
where you'll be able to go ahead and do this.
Now, Mike, I do have one question. So I do a lot of long line trolling, okay? Not
Yeah.
with the planer boards as much, but so I'm using a little bit lighter rods. You're using the Sam saltwater series. That's a stiffer rod. What's the reason? Is it because of the planer boards, the force?
Yeah, the salt. The thing I like about this Super Salt is you can see, if you look at the rod tip right now, see where the bend is at in that rod tip?
Right.
You've got all the backbone all the way up to about that 4th eye right there. And so it's nice and it's stiff without being loaded up, okay? So you've got the flexibility at the very end on these rods. So the board, you know, you're going to have, you know, waves and different things like that you're going to have when we pick up, you know, some winds. So you're going to have the flexibility off that tip, but you have the backbone to hold the rod where it needs to be. So when you get the fish it hits on there, okay, it'll set the hook.
Okay.
Okay, it sets that hook, and the tip actually plays the fish now.
Gotcha.
So my backbone is holding, the tip is actually, you know, when he makes a run, the tip is actually going with him. So that's what I'm looking for. If you have, you know, a regular jig rod, okay, you'd have bend that's starting clear back at the back of the rod.
Okay.
Okay, and now you're loaded up already. You've got nothing to work with.
Your gear and conditions, sponsored by Cornfield Fishing Gear.
So folks, the reason that I'm going into so much information on the equipment is when you're doing this pulling in the summertime, especially with crankbaits and jigs where you've got a lot of force, you need a rod that's going to match up well for that. But you also, even on the rod holders, you know, I've been with Driftmaster. It's the only rod holders I've ever used. And we're using the T-bar system. Again, you want something strong enough to hold all that force, to hold the rods and everything. And equipment is essential. This is one pattern that if you don't go with equipment that's made for this, it can be a real frustrating day. And that's why we're trying to go into as much as we can on the equipment we're using. We talked about equipment. Here's where line counting reels. You can adjust that speed, you know or your depth, you know exactly where they're running. And you can make adjustments on the fly, like Mike's doing now. And once Mike is back in the water, we're going to talk about Hoover itself, because this is not a big reservoir at all here in Ohio. And the one thing that I like, no pleasure boaters out here. They actually have, what, a 9.9 horsepower limit?
9.9 horsepower limit.
So you're not going to see your jet skiers and guys flying by you 2 foot away. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you can see here, like with this, you know, this is an outside rod that I'm going to be using. So I'm just dropping it down. I just let it float back. I'm just going ahead and, you know, letting the boat move forward, and I let it go back so far. When I figure, like, you know, just you determine yourself. Go ahead and set the bail, and it'll fall right in line.
Out and around it goes. Mike, how many acres is Hoover?
Hoover is roughly 2,300 square miles or 2,300 acres, I think is what it is.
Small.
So it's a little bit small, but the recreational area for Hoover is about 4,000.
That's your hiking trails.
Hiking trails, wildlife preserve areas, all that. And they have a very robust, very active group out here of people that take full advantage of that, be it jogging, be it kayakers, be it paddleboard, and even some of the, just the pontoon boats, the guys, it's very laid back, very leisurely, but it's a great lake. Yeah. There are a lot of fish in here, saugeye, crappie, white bass, and of course we've talked about, the catfish, the blue cats, there are gar in here, and oh, looks like we got us one right here. And that's on the shallow one again.
Yeah, your last shallow one was big.
I don't think he's going to be quite as big as the first one, but he is on the crankbait. He's a decent size. He's
not bad.
I think he'd make the team.
He'll keep.
Yeah, ready?
Yes, sir. If we were keeping fish, they got to be 9 inches here in Ohio. I think he would do it. Another one on a crank. That's another white crappie. About a 10-inch fish. Pretty good size for the summer across the back. So we caught some white crappie and some black crappie this morning.
You got a fish. You got a fish inside rock.
There we go.
Oh, that might be a nice one too. Trick on these too is you got to make sure you keep hold of your line.
Okay.
And don't let it fling. Okay. There you go. You got it. It's all yours.
Another black crappie. About 9.5, 10-inch fish. Sorry about that, Mike. Oh, what are you doing there?
Yeah, like I say, I let you on the board, and I thought I'd go fishing.
Wow. So we've got one really nice black and one really nice white now. That's a nice fish. We talk about the summer bite, and a lot of people will give up fishing this time of year for crappie. This can be the best time of the year. Those fish still have to eat. You've got a lot more stable weather. Most of the time the wind's not as strong. And you've seen in Mike's last fish, that fish absolutely had that big crankbait all the way down in his mouth. Look at that.
That's halfway back the body.
So again, if you're one of those guys that after spring fishing's over, you put the rod up, give this summer fishing a try. Give this pattern a try. It's relaxing, and as you can see, produces some nice fish, even here in Ohio. Oh, I got one going.
Yes, you do. There you go. Yes, he's back there.
Come here, crappie. Come on.
Yeah, you probably want to drop your rod down a little bit so you don't have so much of your rod tip in the air, and because that line will fling on you and you'll lose him.
There's that.
Okay.
He might not be too shabby.
And that's on the fin spin.
Another white, not bad.
There you go, Russ. Oops.
Hold still.
He's fighting with the camera.
He like that pretty pink. Get out of there. Another white crappie with a fin spin. Catching a little bit of both this morning. White crappie, black crappie.
All right, we are locked in.
Oh, inside rod, inside rod, Mike.
Just got turned around and
It's actually heating up out here and the bite is turning on. That's a small one, but still.
yeah, I got this one. I take care of it.
You get that one.
I got this one. Those fish didn't listen to it. I told them, you know, when Russ was out here, you know, the little ones go over there.
Tell you what, Mike, we're catching like every size this morning, from dinks to nice ones.
Well, and that's the thing that I'm actually kind of glad to see, because when I've been out here pre-fishing, it was either, you know, under 8 or, you know, over 12.
Right.
You know, there was nothing in between. And so to show for the, you know, have a healthy fish factory, you want to have all sizes.
Yeah. Started out this morning, the water temperature is 76. We're getting close to 78 now. Warmed up a little bit. Again, if you just joined us, we are in the end of August here in Ohio, Hoover Lake. Doing some summertime planer board fishing with offshore tackle planer boards.
Oh, well, you got one outside rod. Oh, he's back there.
Yep. Come here, Mr. Crappie.
He's got a pretty good sized mouth on him. Hopefully that means he's a nice big fish.
We're due for a bigger one.
Oops.
Oh. There we go. Not bad at all.
What do you think of that for a net man?
Get your planer board and the fish. All right, let me get them out of here first. There we go.
Okay, I'll take care of these.
There's another good white. My last couple fish come on that outside rod. He was a crankbait fish. Another pretty white.
Water. Okay.
Oh, inside board, inside board.
Oh,
Popped you hard.
well, it did. Oh, yeah. Oh, this might. Oh, I see why.
Oh, is that a crappie?
That's a crappie.
That might be a nice one.
Yeah, he. I think he got a face full of
Oh,
treble
crankbait.
hook on that one.
Still good fish.
Yeah, that's a real good
That's a
fish.
big black, I believe. Well, yeah, where you bringing him? Oh, big white. Oh, yes. That's a big old thick body. Look at there, folks.
That's
After
what
a
we're
couple
looking.
swing and miss, that's a good one.
Okay, calm down. I'm trying to help you.
Oh, God.
Caught that on the Bandit. That's that crossum that my wife decided that was a pretty bait that I had to get.
So that's a Leanne fish here.
That's a Leanne fish.
Oh!
Oh, you got that for me, Russ? Huh.
That's a good fish.
It's a good thing I stepped away so you can
That
catch
is
a nice one
good
today,
fish.
huh? Yep, I stepped away so you can have a nice
That's
one.
right, man. You don't take a break during the taping of BrushPile fishing. That's a black, ain't it?
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, let me get the net on this dude because he needs a net. Don't lose
That
him,
is
Russ.
a
Don't
nice
lose
black
him. There we go.
crappie. Look at there.
Oh my goodness, I almost couldn't lift him up.
Woo-hoo.
Now tell me about Ohio crappie.
Let me get him out of here without getting a hook in my hand. There is a nice black crappie. My goodness. Woo!
Welcome to Hoover.
August fishing here in Ohio. That is a dandy. We've caught some nice whites, a couple nice blacks. That's the nicest black crappie today.
And Russ, you know, as much as I've been fishing out here lately, it's not unusual to catch a fish like that.
I'll tell you what, that's a good one.
Ask the Angler, sponsored by Hook and Bullet Sunglasses.
All right, folks, it's time for Ask the Angler. As you know, we put, when we're taping shows now, we'll put something on Facebook, and we've got a question from one of the anglers. Mike, he wants to know, we put down that we were using cranks and fin spins on each line today. The question is, if we are fishing and one of them absolutely starts dominating getting the hits, whether it's the crankbait or the fin spin, do you take the other off and go strictly with that?
A lot of it is seasonal. It depends on time of year. But for the most part, if I'm running this system, I use that strictly for depth control on my fin spin. If I know
the crankbait.
The crankbait,
okay.
Yes, I'm using the crankbait. I can make adjustments anywhere from 3 foot in water depth, roughly, in a little shallower, all the way down to about 18 feet. So I can get that fin spin, if it's what's really picking up the fish, I can get that fin spin down to that 18-foot depth.
Gotcha.
Early in the spring, a lot of times my ring that I run will have just 2 fin spins on it.
Okay.
But I'm running shallower water.
In the spring.
That 5-foot area somewhere in there. And also, a lot of it also depends on where these fish are hitting their water column. If they're way up high and I only need to be down 5 foot, I may go to it, but in summertime, I'm running, the bandit lure for depth control and running the fin spin, to pick up my fish.
All right, there you have it, folks, or Ask the Angler. Oh, inside.
Look at that, inside again.
And he hit her hard. Ooh, that might not be a bad one.
Yeah. Yeah, don't let that line fly.
Fish be gone.
Yep, it'll
Got
be
it.
gone. Yep.
Let me get a net under him. Another good white. Yes, sir. What a morning.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Higher. Hold my fly higher. There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Inside's turned on.
Yes, it has. I started watching some of these guys, on different shows. And that fish curls its tail up. He's going to sit there and give it a little shake, and it shakes that right out. And I was like, oh, so that's how that's done. Okay. I see how that's
Tricks
done.
of the trade.
Yeah.
Damn, what a good morning. Man, we've got some nice fish.
Yeah. And it's all or nothing. That's what's crazy about, here. It's, generally it's all big fish or all little fish. And we got a couple in-betweeners today.
And now, the BrushPile Gear Check.
Welcome to today's BrushPile Gear Check. I'm going to show you the rig that I use while pulling my bandit lures and fin spin crappie rigs. Start off with using the Daiwa reel, line counting reel, so that I can see exactly how much line I am putting out every time. I come off that with 10-pound main line. It comes up to my 3-way swivel. It's a standard 3-way swivel I use with the bead, swivel, and clip. And I have a 3-way that I have on here. And I go to a 6-pound line to run down to my Fin Spin Pro. My next line is also a 6-pound, which runs down and directly to my bandit lure that I use. And I use the bandit lure to actually adjust my depth. I can set this back 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet, and have the exact depth that I need to run. And I have most of my bites, believe it or not, off that fin spin lure. As far as the rod we're using, folks, we're using the Sam Super Salt. Ran across this rod a couple years ago, and this rod has been fantastic for pulling boards. I use the offshore planer board OR38 awesome crappie board. Once I get my depth determined I want to run, I just clip one of these on and it's game on. We catch a ton of fish. All right, where am I at? Where am I at?
Oh,
Holy cow, that turned your T-bar and everything.
God, whatever that was hit hard.
Yes, it did. Oh, that's a good one, looks like.
Crappie. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's another big black, I believe.
Yep, it sure is.
Yes, sir. Ready?
Yep.
There we go. Look at these, man. They are wide bodies.
I don't know about you, Russ. Could you imagine in the late fall or early spring what that thing would weigh?
Oh my gosh, full of eggs. Goodness.
Yep. My goodness.
Look at that, folks. Another big black. Wow. We talked about earlier, it was a fin spin bite, but now they have turned onto the crankbait, run a little bit deeper.
Yep.
Another good black.
Yeah, it's those fish, I mean, they are aggressive right now.
Yes, they
A
are.
lot of fun.
Oh, Joey. Well, tell you what, Mike, Joe the camera guy's been getting on us, man. We got to get out of here. We got things to do. I've had a blast. We only fished a couple hours this morning. Yep. End of August, we caught some really, really nice fish. Black crappie, white crappie. We caught small ones, medium size. We caught some really nice ones, especially for Ohio this time of year. Offshore planer boards, dual presentation. Had a blast, bud.
It was a great time. I need to get you back here sometime too in the fall.
I'll tell you what, you've been on me all summer about getting here, and of course I have baseball and everything. Well worth the trip, man. If you have never been here, especially my people, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, if you have never been to Hoover Reservoir, make sure you try this in the summertime. No pleasure boaters out here. The fishing has been fantastic. Like I say, today's show was actually taped in about 2 hours. So Hoover Reservoir, Mike, as always, brother, enjoyed talking to you, enjoyed fishing with you.
It was a great time. Thank you, Russ.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll be back again with BrushPile Fishing.
Special thanks to B&M Pole Company, War Eagle Boats, Crappie Magnet, Slime Line Fishing Line, Cornfield Fishing Gear, Eye-Hole Jig, Easy Drift, Driftmaster, Offshore Tackle Company, Power Pole, Mossback Fish Habitat, Hook and Bullet Sunglasses, Garmin,